I'm Jens. I am here to give awards from ACM SIGPLAN. Actually, you saw one award yesterday already. That was the Milner Young Researcher Award that we gave to Martin Batchev. And today, two more awards from SIGPLAN. And we are going to begin with the Reynolds Dissertation Award, which is we give to an outstanding doctoral dissertation. And this year, the winner is Ryan Beckett from Princeton, advised by David Walker. Before I turn it over to Ryan, I'm going to read a bit of the citation for your thesis here. We have an awards committee that selected this thesis. Mira Missini from the SIGPLAN Executive Committee was the leader of the committee. And the following citation emerged. I will read a bit from it. It says, Ryan Beckett's thesis addresses the highly relevant topic of ensuring correctness of computer network configurations. And he makes progress on this problem with methods drawn from programming languages and formal methods, a lot of different techniques, and in the thesis describes new principles, algorithms, and tools for verification and synthesis of network control plane algorithms. And he published ahead of getting the thesis done, papers in both the top programming languages conferences, the top networking conferences, and as a special thing, got the best paper award from SIGCOMM 2016. And what more can I say? We are having impact on networking, guys. This is good. So congratulations again. If you want to say a few words, here's the microphone.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I'll be brief. I'm really honored to receive this award, particularly at POPL. And I really want to say a huge thank you to my advisor, David Walker, who was an incredible mentor and researcher, and without whom I have no doubt I wouldn't be up here today. So thanks a lot, Dave. And just briefly, I want to say thank you to all of the wonderful collaborators I had the pleasure to work with, including R.D. Gupta, Michael Greenberg, Jennifer Rexford, Ratul Mahajan, and many others. So thank you very much.
So here, we have this one more thank you. We have one more award today. This is a kind of award that's very near and dear to my heart. So maybe you know this. Every one of ICFP, PLGI, POPL, and SPLASH have a most influential paper award that we give out 10 years after. So we identify a paper that was 10 years ago that stood the test of time, that influenced the community, and opens people's mind to something new in many cases. And as it happens, I was the program chair of POPL 2010, so today is extra special for me. We had a committee. The committee was led by Emery Berger, and we identified a paper. I was also in the committee because I'm SIGPLAN chair, but what I hear is that the committee selected the following paper to be the most influential paper from POPL 2010, from program verification to program synthesis, by Saurabh Srivastava, Sumit Golwani, and Jeffrey Foster. And congratulations. Sumit is here, and he is here to accept the award on behalf of the authors. And I am going to read the citation that emerged from this committee. So just to embarrass you a little bit, the citation says, the paper greatly advanced our ability to synthesize programs from a logical specification. It worked from the insight that much of the work carried out by a program verifier could be repurposed, not to checking that the code matches the specification, but rather to synthesize code that does match the specification. The user of such a tool specifies the input-output behavior as a logical formula, as well as some structural and resource constraints. And then the verifier scaffolds synthesized code on the structure and makes sure it adheres to the resource constraints. The authors synthesized a surprisingly clever algorithm that served as an inspiration for some of the massive effort on verification-based program synthesis over the last decade. So congratulations again. I'm going to give you this. Thank you. And the microphone.
So I was able to put together a 5-minute speech while flying earlier today. I learned about this last night.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks. So Saurabh, Jeff, and myself are extremely delighted and honored to receive this recognition. Unfortunately, Saurabh and Jeff couldn't make it, but I was a bit fortunate to escape my jury duty last week, which could have almost lasted for a month. I told them I have another important civic duty to take care of, namely a keynote that I am giving on program synthesis next week at an event in New York. So they kindly dismissed me. It was also important to mention that this keynote will be attended by many students and university professors. So here I am today to share some interesting stories related to this paper and thank the underlying actors. The first story is about inspiration that stems from free flow of ideas, friendships, and strong collaboration. So in 2005, I was giving a job talk at Microsoft Research, and I was talking about my thesis on random interpretation and explaining it as an instance of forward data flow analysis or abstract interpretation. So we are given a program statement, we are given a state before the program statement, and the goal is to compute the state after the program statement, and this is pretty much what random interpretation does. So there was a machine learning researcher in the audience who asked, can you flow these facts backward? And I said, yes, this is what we call backward data flow analysis in our community. And then he wondered, what if you know the facts before and after the statement, but you do not know the statement? And this is what I thought would be program synthesis at that time, and something that I would like to work on if I were to join Microsoft. But unfortunately, the problem turned out to be much harder than I expected. And few years later down the line, Saurabh came for a couple of internships and explored some very powerful template-based abstractions for program verification. And this paper was a result of combining these two inspirations, treating program synthesis as a collection of, treating program as a collection of unknown program statements and leveraging template-based abstractions for expressing verification condition over the program statement and the program state. So big thank you to Saurabh for coming over to Microsoft twice for internships and his sheer dedication and brilliance in evolving this line of work. But also a big thank you to Jeff, whom I have known to be one of the kindest-hearted persons in the community, for allowing Saurabh to come in for 2 internships and then encouraging him to build on these ideas in the internship that led to this paper, and it also became part of his thesis work. None of this would have been possible if it was not for Saurabh's dedication and Jeff's friendship and his better together attitude. So by the way, I do have some open internship positions in my team. So please feel free to contact me. The second story is about vindictive inspiration. Back in 1995, when I was in the first year of my college and enrolled in an introductory programming course, the instructor told me that a 2x2 matrix can be multiplied with less than 8 multiplication operations, in particular 7 operations. When I questioned how was that possible, he just laughed and told me that he would teach this premium material only in a departmental course meant for CS students. I was extremely pissed, since I had been admitted to the electrical engineering program, which was the second preferred branch after computer science. So I wrote the college entrance exam again. And this time I was lucky to receive admission to the computer science department, but I had to repeat the first common year to have the privilege of studying computer science. Now getting back to this paper, one of the benchmarks in this paper is about synthesizing that same Stresson's matrix multiplication algorithm with 7 multiplication operations. So big thank you to that professor who denied me knowledge about a classic algorithm, which incited me to join a formal CS program and also provided a vindictive inspiration for this paper to develop an algorithm that could synthesize the algorithm that he hid from me. The final story relates to change, which is always hard, and how the community supported and encouraged this transition. The title of this paper, From Program Verification to Program Synthesis, has a very special meaning for me. It summarizes the journey of my research career. This paper was written right midway between my 20-year-long research career. The first decade of which was spent in writing program papers on program verification, and the second decade was spent to writing papers on program synthesis. So this paper was my first synthesis paper that inspired several of my future synthesis papers, including the immediately next synthesis paper that I co-authored at ICSI 2010, which coincidentally is also being recognized as the most influential paper at ICSI 2020 in May this year. Around that time, program synthesis wasn't even mentioned in the call for papers for programming languages or software engineering conferences. I lobbied for that verbiage, and I received positive support, which has since then helped flourish a community around this area. So a big thank you to the conference chairs, reviewers, award committee members for their encouragement of ideas that look like toys in the beginning but take time to mature, and for their appreciation of this next chapter in this rather not so popular field of synthesis at the time. And last but not the least, kudos also to the community members who have continued to drive tremendous inspiration advances in program synthesis, especially over this last decade. And a warm welcome to the newcomers who want to take the baton forward in this still nascent area to help power the next big revolution in programming. Saurabh, Jeff, and I feel privileged to have been a tiny part of that progress. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay. Is there a portable one? No, there is a portable.